You better perform. I don't care. Hey, road to hell is paved with good intentions. What we need in this company is results. Just not from me, from you. That's why I'm paying you. Because I'm the leader. I get to go by intentions. And if you'll, I would tape that to your mirror. I'd look at it every morning when you brush your teeth for about 6 months. It will fundamentally change how you do your work. Hallmarks of empathy: expertise in building and retaining talent. If good talent tends to leave you, I guarantee you, you do not possess this skill. If talent attracts to you, people start to want to move into your side of the table, they want to come to your meeting, they want to be in your department, they want to be in your organization. Talented people are attracted and then they stay. That's a sign that you got this. There's also a high degree of cross-cultural sensitivity without politics. It's not like, oh, I'm good, I got one black guy, I got one Hispanic guy, I even got a woman, and I don't even make fun of her. Oh, way to go, guy. That makes you a sophisticated redneck, not someone that has empathy, okay? And do you understand this isn't an issue of politics, of appearances, it's an issue of substance, that you don't try to be sensitive to different cultures and races. You have a natural curiosity for different perspectives, and you bring that to bear. And finally, these guys are awesome at serving clients and customers. I love, there was a really high-end hotel chain that about 15 years ago ran an ad in the New York Times that said, "We don't train our people to be nice, we hire nice people." And that was kind of their approach to what they do. The mission statement for the Ritz-Carlton is ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. Their deep belief is, if I treat you as an employee, as a gentleman or as a lady, in every interaction that you have with management, you will turn around and do that. As a maid, do you know what percentage of maids at the Ritz-Carlton, let's take Miami's Ritz-Carlton, it's a very popular place, very high, it's about $450 a night to start to stay there. What percentage of the maids do you think speak fluent English? In Miami. Okay, we got a 0. You guys agree with that? It's actually about 75 to 80%. Now, almost all of them come from the Latino community too. And what do you think the average education of a maid? Now, this is an $8, $9, $10 an hour job. What do you think the average education level of a maid at the Ritz-Carlton is? High or low? Low, very low, like high school, if that. Yet every single maid at the Ritz-Carlton has automatic permission to spend up to $2,000 to solve any guest complaint. I'll bet you there are vice presidents in some of your companies who don't have permission to spend $2,000 without permission. Because in order to solve a problem instantly, they're on the front lines, they're the ones that do it. They are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. That this kind of service culture, you can't make it at the Ritz-Carlton unless you have that in your nature and where you're going. Then we've got social skills, which basically means, do you have proficiency in building and maintaining networks and relationships of people? And is it demonstrated by people's ability to come there? You can find common ground with anybody. Haven't you met people like this that really, they can get along with just about anybody? So if I come up and I talk to you, first name is Randa, right?
Yes.
Randa, where were you born? Stanford, Arizona?
Yes, sir.
Hey, I was born in Georgia. That is so cool. Where did you go to school? Wow. I went to school in New Jersey, but it was, it was kind of fun. I really we really got a lot in common, don't we? And then, yes, but that's what people with good social skills will find a way to connect with anything. People that don't have good social, they're like, no, Arizona, Georgia, Arizona, New Jersey, and you're starting to freak me out, dude. Just back off. Okay, nobody's that happy, and especially around me. You kind of get that sense, but people with really good social skills find a way to connect with, build rapport, find something in common with just about anybody. People with poor social skills tend to see what's different in everybody. And it's a way you have of looking at the world, of sorting information. Hallmarks of social skills, they're extremely effective at leading change. Why would high social skills help you in leading change efforts? Yeah, you can rally people together around a cause. One of my clients is GM, and I work with them through an intermediator named Merits, and they're like, they function as pulling a team of independent contracts together to work. And the head person that I work with there at GM and Merits, her name's Carrie, pulled me aside. Remember the feedback thing from yesterday? We said, I got feedback for you. This was the rest of the story. This is the feedback. She said, Chris, every time we say stuff that you don't like, it just shows on your face. I mean, you roll your eyes, you know, you look like you think we're stupid, and you go through it. And I'm like, okay, well, yeah, I call that transparency. And she goes, but if you believe in something, if you think it's a good idea, you're better than anyone we have in our organization about getting people to buy in and own it. Like, once you get the vision, you can share it with people better than anyone we've got. And remember I told you about the problems about her doing it. So I said, then Carrie, why don't you ask my opinion, get me involved, and then I'll carry your water for you. But we don't have time to do that. That's why GM's bankrupt. So here's what I'd like you to do. I'd like you to now take a minute and just very quickly write down 3 to 5 ideas or areas for you to focus on based on what you've learned about emotional intelligence. So going back to your workplace, what are 3 to 5 things in your home life or your personal life that you'd like to do more of, do less of, add to your repertoire, focus on based on what you've picked up about emotional intelligence? I'll give you 60 seconds because I just want what's right off the top of your head. Go. All right, let's move forward on this. How many guys have ever read Stephen Covey's book, The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People? Good book. I recommend it. It has some great stuff in it. In that book, he made this quote. He said that there's a gap in your life between stimulus and response. Something happens, stimulus, response, what you do. And how you use that gap determines the entire quality of your life. And would it be fair to say that some people have a smaller gap than others? Right? Something happens, they almost have no time to think, they almost react completely. Those people tend to be very poor at self-regulation or self-management. He said how you use the gap changes the entire quality of your life. I want to wrap up with one example here that I think will help you out, and I'll finish it up through the rest of the day. There's a belief that if people know what to do and they know how to do it, they'll do it. Now, we already talked about diet and exercise. Is that true? Is there anyone that lacks a knowledge of how to be a good spouse? In other words, you should be forgiving, you should be tolerant, you should be flexible, you should be kind, you should be loving. How many people do you know struggle practicing that on a regular basis? Because just because you know what to do and just because you know how to do it doesn't mean that you will do it. As a matter of fact, in my opinion over the years, there's only 2 reasons that behavior changes. 1 is you raise your standards, and 2 is you change your focus. Today, who's going to be here at the last session today? Your job is to ask me about focus, because at the end of the last session, I want to talk to you about how focus affects your ability to create change. This morning, I want to kind of focus on standards, because those are the only 2 ways that your behavior is going to change. I, growing up for years, was incredibly skinny. I mean, like run around in the shower to get wet kind of skinny. And I was well into my 20s before I could finally get to like a 32 waist and shop in the men's department, which felt so cool. And you know, it's just, when you're in the boys department at 21, it just really hurts your self-esteem. And when I was going through college, I got married while I was in my junior year of college. My senior year, I had my first child. Then I went to graduate school, had my second child. When I finished graduate school, I had my third child, and we had no money. I mean, you know when they have like the free hot dog days at the car dealerships? That was menu planning for us. If they canceled it, we were toast. We didn't have a backup plan. And and I had always been extremely active and stuff and enjoyed doing that. And when I got out of college, I told you I worked for drug rehab program, and then I started doing my own consulting. And while I was doing that, I got a call from Saturn, the car company, and they wanted me to come work for them. And this was a huge deal for me. I hated car people, though. How many of you guys really hate car people and the car buying process and what goes on? Yes, me too. And so I really didn't want to work for them because I saw them as like the evil empire, and it would be selling out. And they're like, no, Saturn's a different kind of car company. I said, sure. But they flew me back there. They did a great job. They hired me on the spot. I had an interview at 9 a.m., it finished at noon, they bought me lunch, and I started at 1 o'clock. It was a cool experience. And what happened was they gave me an expense account for the first time in my life. I'd never had that. And now you vouch for me on this one, okay? And they didn't give me a per diem. They gave you a use it or lose it number. So I got $10 for breakfast, and this is like 1993 or 4, $15 for lunch, and $25 for dinner. But if you didn't use all the money, you lose